Since Donald Trump has come back into the power, उनका क्या क्या implications आएगा Indian students पे who are planning to go to USA?
US has been known as the melting pot of talent, where everyone has come from everywhere. So Elon Musk comes from South Africa. Satya Nadella we have got. Sundar Pichai, we have got so many Indian Americans.
ये यूनिवर्सिटी ने एक कैंपेन लॉन्च किया था इन्फॉर्मिंग देम कि जो ट्रम्प पावर में आने वाला है उसके क्या इम्प्लीकेशंस होंगे, दे हैव टू वरी और दे डू नॉट हैव टू वरी।
ट्रम्प के पावर में आने के बाद ट्यूशन फी में कुछ चेंज होगा बिकॉज व्हेन बराक ओबामा वाज इन पावर मोर देन 20% का जंप था, बट व्हेन ट्रम्प केम इनटू द पावर ईदर दैट वाज फ्लैट और इट वेंट इनटू नेगेटिव।
Massive visa rejections have taken place in month of December. तो पहले क्या था, आपका शिफ्टिंग भी होता था ना एक वीज़ा से दूसरे वीज़ा पे, तो आपका बीच में कुछ गैप आ जाता है। तो पहले इट वाज इग्नोर्ड, फिर ट्रम्प के टाइम पे उसने बोला एक भी दिन हो गया तो आप इलीगल हो जाओ।
बट ट्रम्प इन दैट वे इज रियली अनप्रिडिक्टेबल, क्योंकि अभी उनका जो रिसेंट ट्वीट था अबाउट जस्टिन ट्रूडो, ही लेबल्ड हिम एज गवर्नर ट्रूडो, डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प प्लस एलॉन मस्क। दे आर द टीम बिहाइंड द यूएसए गवर्नमेंट इन द नेक्स्ट टेन्योर। हाय मानिक, वेलकम बैक टू द वॉइस मैटर्स। कैसे हो आप?
बिल्कुल भाई अली, थैंक यू सो मच।
ऑल गुड,
गुड टू बी बैक।
वी आर सो ग्लैड टू हैव यू बैक। लास्ट टाइम का हमारा कॉन्वर्सेशन एक्चुअली बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग रहा था एंड हेल्पफुल टू द पीपल एज वेल। आज हम डिस्कस करने वाले हैं स्पेसिफिकली स्टडी अब्रॉड इन यूएस फॉर इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स एंड उसकी क्या इम्प्लीकेशंस होने वाले हैं।
या सो मानिक, लास्ट टाइम हमने इन डिटेल डिस्कस किया था कि जस्टिन ट्रूडो वर्सेस इंडियन गवर्नमेंट के कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स का क्या क्या इश्यूज हुआ है ऑन द स्टूडेंट्स एस्पायरिंग टू स्टडी इन कैनेडा। आज हम डिटेल में डिस्कस करेंगे सिंस डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प हैज़ कम बैक इनटू द पावर, तो उनके वापस आने के बाद प्लस मेक अमेरिका ग्रेट अगेन इस टाइप की जो कैंपेनिंग की थी उन्होंने अपने प्रेसिडेंशियल इलेक्शन में, उनका क्या क्या इम्प्लीकेशंस आएगा अब इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स पे हु आर प्लानिंग टू गो टू यूएसए।
See, make America great again. MAGA. How election campaign has been about it.
Yeah.
I think America will become great again, much great again with India by its side. That is how I think it will go down to. Because if you look at the election campaign, getting re-election, how the Indian diaspora has been contributing to it, the way Elon Musk was behind. So it is not only India, it's about immigrants. US has been known as the melting pot of talent, okay, where everyone has come from everywhere and settled into that great land of America, what they call it as, and made it into a superpower. So Elon Musk comes from South Africa, okay, Satya Nadella we have got Sundar Pichai, we have got so many Indian Americans, we have got so many people of Chinese diaspora, other nations who have contributed to growth of America. So I think for America to be great, it is with the immigrants only. That is how the world has been looking at America actually.
दैट इज ट्रू, बट वो ट्रम्प को कौन समझाएगा?
Hey, he knows it very well. I think he knows it very well. The kind of people that he had with him. If you look at the vice presidential candidate, you look at so many people, you look at his team that he's forming. I think he's having his swearing-in ceremony on 20th of January. There are a lot of Indian Americans who are on board. There are a lot of international, other nationality people who are on board with him, his team, his chief of staff. So there is lot of immigrant influence which his team has also got. See, we are now, or I would say Indian Americans and other diasporas, they are a very formidable part of society. They are very strongly rooted into the American society now. So they are Americans now. So they can be a bit of, you can say, a bit of discouraging about how the immigration policy is going to be. But I think we are here to stay with US in the entire journey. Only they want to become great again. How they are only great.
I was also reading it somewhere कि maybe Trump is very outspoken, so his election campaign was into that direction कि मैं ऐसा कर दूंगा, मचा दूंगा बिल्कुल. But maybe once he comes into the power, then he'll have to stabilize a bit.
See, everyone has to win election first, na? Even if I want to implement something, I need to win election. I have to cater to my voter segment. Okay, so if my voter will respond to that in a positive way, so I'll say that.
But I think इससे ना एक थोड़ा सा नेगेटिव नैरेटिव भी सेट हुआ है इन द टर्म्स दैट आई वाज रीडिंग कि जो ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस हैं इन द यूएस, बिग टेक कंपनीज, दे आर ऑल्सो एडवाइसिंग अपने एम्प्लॉयज़ को, जो भी इमिग्रेंट्स हैं, जो भी आउटसाइड कंट्री के हैं, दैट यू कम बैक बाय 20th of January बिफोर ही स्वेज इन. एंड ऑल्सो सिमिलरली अभी ये यूनिवर्सिटी ने एक कैंपेन लॉन्च किया था, मतलब दे हैड अ वेबिनार और समथिंग फॉर देयर आउटसाइड द यूएस स्टूडेंट्स, इन्फॉर्मिंग देम कि जो ट्रम्प पावर में आने वाला है उसके क्या इम्प्लीकेशंस होंगे, दे हैव टू वरी और दे डू नॉट हैव टू वरी. सो कहीं ना कहीं नेगेटिव नैरेटिव तो सेट हो रहा है थ्रू आउट द कंट्रीज.
See, lot of impression is given because of his last term as well. When he came into power, he said, okay, people from these nationalities will not travel. Okay, then there is other immigration policy changes that he did, which were overruled by different courts and judges as well. But the thing is, his last term will have the impact. But we should also not forget that the US population has elected him convincingly this time. Okay, so it's like he's back because of what he has said. So we cannot rule out that. He's an elected president. He's back in power, and he has been a very phenomenal success if you look at it. For any businessman to come out in politics and become president, it is not easy at all anywhere in the world. He has done it not once but twice. And this time very convincingly. So means whatever he is saying, he's catering to that American population who is responding in positive to him.
राइट. सो व्हाट डू यू थिंक कि क्या इम्प्लीकेशंस होने वाले हैं स्टडी अब्रॉड स्टूडेंट्स पे, स्पेसिफिकली फ्रॉम इंडिया?
See, I have been a fan of US education always. I think it is one of the best education systems that we have got in the world in terms of higher education, school education as well. For Indian students, actually, as long as you are a genuine student, you should not worry. That is going to be the bottom line for everything. There could be, if US is having more jobs, then you are benefiting out of it. So if they come back to like increasing the manufacturing industry back in US, have impetus on a lot of factors which are job generating in US, it will always carry a very very positive impact. Positive impact, I would say, when there are so many jobs to offer, they will need people to step in, and then we are there with our experience, with our belief in academics, with our belief in hard work, with our DNA of doing good work, trying to make good living from our life. I think all these principles are very well set. So we Indians actually are very big contributors wherever we go. So we are always positive on that side. So in terms of jobs and everything, I think if there are more jobs in America, it is good for Indian students.
Since we are discussing about Trump's last tenure, so I was just taking the figures. When Barack Obama was in power, तो जो previous year की comparison करें तो around 20 more than 20% का jump था in Barack Obama's tenure. But when Trump came into the power, तो वो जो spike था, either that was flat और कुछ सालों में, मतलब before COVID itself in 2019, it went into negative. Is there a signal that you are seeing कि हाँ, we are seeing a lack of interest that the students are planning or the students are aspiring to go to USA?
See, sentiment can always be impacted. It can go negative also because of the way Donald Trump talks, the way he actually executes his thought process. Okay, so that will always be there. I think US has been a very stable country in that way in terms of Indian student recruitment. It has gone down. Like in December, there was heavy visa rejections at all consulates in India. Everywhere. Massive visa rejections have taken place in month of December. Anyone from the industry would know as well. Unprecedented visa rejections. People are saying Trump has come. Trump is not even assumed for right now. It was a change of guard or whatever it was happening. But there have been massive visa rejections. I think maybe it's trying to give a early sick, but he is not at the policy making right now, na? So maybe other people are trying to paint him negative already. Could be the case. So the earlier regime is trying to paint him negative. See, this guy is coming to picture. See what is happening. Visa rejections have already started happening. He has not even taken oath right now, till now, but visas are getting rejected. I think he has got no role in that, and I think it's a very small area to focus on. Because it's a very sensitive topic, and that's why it keeps on coming up. But I don't think so. It's a priority topic for any president. I think priority for him is lies somewhere else, नॉट इन टर्म्स ऑफ रिस्ट्रिक्टिंग स्टूडेंट के स्टूडेंट्स 10,000 कम कर दिए, 15,000 कम कर दिए, उससे भी फी ग्रेट, नथिंग एट ऑल. आई डोंट थिंक सो दैट इज गोइंग टू हैपन. I think there could be implications for people, maybe. That is also I am assuming. I can be wrong as well, but based on my experience, to people who are getting H1B visas, H1B is 65,000 cap every year. 20,000 plus are reserved for students actually who have completed higher education, masters or higher in US. So that is 65 plus 20, that is 85,000. Okay, so I think there could be a shift over a period of time in those 65,000 because those 65,000 are actually hired from outside. And India is the biggest beneficiary of H1B scheme if you know about it. We consume the majority of the visas, more than 3/4 actually.
अब तो वैसे भी इंक्रीज हो ही रहे हैं हायर एजुकेशन का परसेंटेज और नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स.
So number of students, I think what they are going to have is they might have some movement in those 20,000. So total number may remain 85, but instead of 20,000, it could move down to 30,000 or 40,000. See, people who are investing in your education system, who are coming here, investing about $250,000 in your education system, taking education, doing everything, and who have been here, who have acclimatized, who have actually grown in your society for 2 years, 4 years, or 5 years, they get better chance rather than hiring someone completely foreign into your land. So that could be something that I believe, and I think it is positive. It will increase the interest in US system because most of the people who have invested money with their kids going into US, taking education, spending a lot of money, they are getting the return out of that.
But isn't the students' narrative going to change? Because I think there are some implications which he has talked about regarding the green card policy as well. तो फ्यूचर में अगर हम बात करें, बिकॉज एक स्टूडेंट यहाँ से जा रहा है इतना खर्चा वगैरह करके, एंड मोस्टली लोग इसी पर्सपेक्टिव से जाते हैं दैट वी आर गोइंग टू सेटल देयर, वी आर गोइंग टू वर्क, देयर इज वेरी लेस परसेंटेज हु इज गोइंग टू कम बैक और इवन थिंग्स. तो अगर उनके रूल्स की मतलब उनके हम राइट्स की बात करें तो उसी पर्सपेक्टिव से जाएंगे कि हमें ग्रीन कार्ड मिल जाएगा, वी आर गोइंग टू हैव अ फैमिली देयर, सेट अप देयर एंड एवरीथिंग, वी आर गोइंग टू लिव इन द यूएस. तो वहाँ पे वो भी तो नैरेटिव एक चेंज हो सकता है स्टूडेंट का कि यार आई माइट लुक फॉर सम अदर कंट्रीज.
एंड मेरा एक फ्रेंड था उसकी यूएस में जॉब भी लगी, तो उसका एक्चुअल लिटरली प्लान ये था, आई विल गो देयर, आई विल हैव अ बेबी एंड हु विल बी अ यूएस सिटीजन. बट अब तो उस टाइप की स्कीम ही बंद हो जाएगी.
So it was never a scheme, basically. Bringing a kid into the world should not be treated as okay. So now, a lot of people, somewhere we are also responsible for what happens. A lot of Indian couples have gone there, have kid in the US, and then you become a citizen. Actually, even if you are born there, you can be president. Elon Musk can never be president as per the Constitution of America. You have to be born in US to be a president also. ठीक है. So अब इसके अंदर है क्या कि आपने पहले सिस्टम को एक्सप्लॉइट किया, आज वो सिस्टम करेक्ट हो रहा है तो यू शुड नॉट कंप्लेन. प्लस अदर देन यूएस, इफ यू गॉट अ किड, means the kid is born in UK, you don't get citizenship. But if you are born in US, you are a citizen automatically. So this can be used and exploited.
What about Germany? I think Germany में भी तो यही ना कि जर्मनी में अगर बच्चा he or she is born in Germany, तो जर्मनी की सिटीजनशिप मिलती है उन्हें.
So in European countries also this is there. UK doesn't do it. Typically we talk about conventional destinations, UK, Australia, they don't do it. US is the only country which has been doing it.
Abhi he is talking about changing this policy as
Yeah, and you mentioned about that green card thing. So it's a very funny case in US as well. Parents don't have any permanent status in the US, but kids are citizens. They can do anything, but parents, so in last Trump regime also this was there that if the parents are not citizens, the kid should not also be a citizen.
ओके.
एंड मानिक मतलब इसका मेजरली जो स्टूडेंट वीज़ा होता है F1 वीज़ा, उस पे क्या क्या implications पे, एज यू मेंशन कि कुछ रिजेक्शंस ऑलरेडी इंक्रीज हो गए हैं.
It was huge rejection actually. I think it is going to balance off in the next summer intake, which is a small intake.
Okay.
But आपको वैसे बताता हूँ, summer intake के अंदर rejections हमेशा से ही कम रहे हैं. Even applications are less because there are very very few universities which have got that intake, and but rejections are lesser. I think acceptances will be much higher in fall, which is the August term, and then in the summer intake as well.
And OPT, first of all, let's discuss what is OPT, and with Trump coming into the power, क्या क्या इम्प्लीकेशंस होंगे ओपीटी के ऊपर?
सो लास्ट टाइम इन ट्रम्प वाज इन पावर तो एक चेंज किया था कि अगर आपका एक भी दिन आप अपने स्टेटस से बाहर हो जाते हो, स्टेटस आपको थोड़ा डिफाइन कर देता हूँ कैसे होता है। एक सेवेस होता है, स्टूडेंट एंड एक्सचेंज विजिटर इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम। सेवेस, व्हाट डज सेवेस डू? इट्स लाइक योर रजिस्ट्रेशन इन यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका। इसके लिए आप $350 पे करते हैं और आप यूएस ट्रैवल करते हैं। उसके बाद वीज़ा, उसके बाद स्टैम्प होता है विद योर सेवेस नंबर। आप यूनिवर्सिटी चेंज करें, आप कुछ भी चेंज करें, आपका सेवेस नंबर पे आपका इंफॉर्मेशन चेंज होती रहती है, बट योर आइडेंटिफिकेशन इन यूएस इज़ विद योर सेवेस नंबर। इट लाइक गाड़ी का रजिस्ट्रेशन नंबर है।
So everyone has to pay it.
Yeah, $350 you pay and then you enter into US. This is the first thing which is checked. आपके वीज़ा पे स्टैम्प भी होती है, वो सेवेस आईडी के साथ होती है, स्टूडेंट एंड एक्सचेंज विजिटर इंफॉर्मेशन सिस्टम नंबर। एंड जब तक आपका सेवेस इन स्टेटस है तब तक आप बिल्कुल सेफ हो।
इन स्टेटस व्हाट
इन स्टेटस का मतलब है यू हैव, इट हैज़ नॉट बीन टर्मिनेटेड। तो इन स्टेटस का मतलब होता है इट्स ऑन, पॉजिटिव। आउट ऑफ स्टेटस का मतलब होता है कि आपका स्टेटस कुछ नहीं रहा, आप अब इलीगल हो गए हो। आउट ऑफ स्टेटस का मतलब आप इलीगल हो गए हो। तो ट्रम्प के टाइम पे क्या किया था, पहले क्या था, आपका शिफ्टिंग भी होता था ना एक वीज़ा से दूसरे वीज़ा पे, तो आपका बीच में कुछ गैप आ जाता है, 15 दिन आ गए, 20 दिन आ गए, तो पहले इट वॉज इग्नोर्ड। फिर ट्रम्प के टाइम पे उसने बोला कि अगर ऐसा हो गया, एक भी दिन हो गया, तो आप इलीगल हो जाओगे। जब इलीगल हो गए तो यू कैन बी डिपोर्टेड एज वेल।
और अभी रिपोर्टिंग
सो अभी द रीसेंट चेंजेस विच हैव कम है, अगर आपने इसी महीने के चेंजेस है, उसके अंदर उन्होंने स्टूडेंट वीज़ा से H1B पे ट्रांजिशन भी जो है उसको स्मूथन आउट कर दिया है। तो अब बीच में आप इलीगल नहीं हो रहे हो, स्मूथनिंग प्रोसेस हैज़ बीन डन, सो यू कैन एक्चुअली, यू विल हैव अ वेरी ट्रांजिशन हैज़ बिकम स्मूदर।
क्योंकि इलीगल इमिग्रेंट्स का डिपोर्टेशन प्रोग्राम तो काफ़ी स्ट्रिक्ट है उनके रडार पे।
इलीगल बेसिकली आपने एक बार आपका इलीगल स्टेटस आ गया ना, जब भी वीज़ा अप्लाई करने जाओगे तो नज़र आ जाएगा कि आप इतने डेज इलीगल थे। सो दैट कैन इम्पैक्ट, देन इट, you would not like to have that
Yeah.
on your name.
Because he is already talking about deporting 4% of the US population, which is like illegal in his, views.
See what will happen to California. There are so many bicycles. What will happen to Texas? What will happen to the workforce actually? Okay. So there are more Mexicans in California than Indian population also. So we are there with the IT companies, we are there with the big companies, but everything at the ground works with Mexicans actually. What will happen? The economy will collapse actually. Who will work for you?
Even I think Seattle side as well, Washington.
So yeah, that entire West Coast, if you look at it, California being the biggest state as well as the biggest beneficiary of this. And then, so there is California, above that it's Oregon, which has got limited cities which are famous. Then above that is state of Washington, which has got Seattle. So that West Coast completely actually defines a lot of Mexican population moving in, jobs and everywhere. And there, see, where there is industry, there will be bigger jobs, there would be menial jobs, and there would be every kind of job. So Seattle has got Amazon, it has got Microsoft, it has got Starbucks headquarters. So that will always have a huge population. And then you will have big jobs also and small jobs also. California, from San Francisco to down south, Southern California, you've got San Diego. So there is massive job opportunity. So you will need every kind of people.
4% बहुत ज़्यादा है यार, मतलब अगर आप डिपोर्ट करने का सोचो, 4% is actually a huge.
Well, look at, it will take 4 years for the entire term to collect those 4% people.
And जहाँ वो लेवल पास, जहाँ पे जॉब्स रहेंगे वहाँ पे पॉपुलेशन है, so yes,
Plus, you will not, you don't want to set everything negative during your term also, na? You don't want to start your term and end your term on a negative note. You would like to, see, you are elected to do good to people first, rather than doing bad to some people. So be responsible, means I'm no one to say that, but 96% population is something you should cater to, rather than focusing on just 4% of the population to get them out.
नहीं, बट ट्रम्प इन दैट वे इज रियली अनप्रिडिक्टेबल, क्योंकि अभी उनका जो रिसेंट ये ट्वीट था अबाउट जस्टिन ट्रूडो, ही लेबल्ड हिम एज गवर्नर ट्रूडो, या एंड फिर इंडियन ट्रेड के लिए भी बोला था कि अगर इंडिया इतना टैरिफ लगाएगा हम पे तो आई इम्प्लाई 100% टैरिफ। तो उस टाइप के स्टेटमेंट्स जब ट्रम्प के साइड से आते हैं तो नेगेटिव सेंटिमेंट बनेगा।
नेगेटिव है, हाँ, स्टॉक मार्केट पे भी असर लगता है, कई जगह बोले इट विल हैव इट्स इम्पैक्ट, बट हाँ, आई थिंक कैनेडा, इफ इट बिकम्स द 51st स्टेट, it would be beneficial for them. They are not going anywhere. They don't have any importance in the world right now in terms of like very limited association. Like, I think as a 51st state, it will be better.
But Khalistan will support them.
That can always be there. That is a very a point of view of few people. But as you have to think about the entire population, and the entire population would be benefited if someone more progressive comes into their regime. I think they need a progressive government right now. Minority appeasement government system has gone out of the world favor actually in many countries. So I think what they should focus on is getting a government which is pro progress completely, rather than looking at immigrants and looking at this. See, these are cater to the majority population rather than catering to the minority thing. Na? Majority population is stating that we are looking at jobs, employment, reduced housing cost, in low inflation. I think these are the areas to focus on rather than looking at okay how what we're going to do with these 30,000, 40,000 students actually.
एंड मानिक अभी कुछ ऐसे अर्ली सिग्नल्स आने लगे हैं आपके पास कि ट्रम्प के पावर में आने के बाद ट्यूशन फ़ी में कुछ चेंज होगा बिकॉज अगर हम लोग लास्ट इंडिया और कंपेयर करें डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प वर्सेस बराक ओबामा सो इन द टर्म ऑफ बराक ओबामा देयर वाज अ शिफ्ट ऑफ और एन अपलिफ्ट ऑफ 2% इन एवरी ईयर बट ट्रम्प के टाइम पे कभी वो 3% पे था कभी 2.5% पे फिर कभी 1% पे था तो उस टाइप का ड्रास्टिक चेंजेस थे मतलब ऐसा कोई स्टेबल नहीं था कि हाँ ट्यूशन फी इस रेट पे इंक्रीज होगी या नहीं होगी तो ऐसा ही कुछ यूनिवर्सिटीज़ के साइड से आ रहा है
हाँ आपको वैसे बताता हूँ ट्यूशन फी इज नॉट कंट्रोल्ड बाय गवर्नमेंट इधर एट पब्लिक यूनिवर्सिटीज और प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटीज एट ऑल देयर इज नो रेगुलेशन in US you can find tuition fees of $4,000 and you can find tuition fees of $70,000 also. So there was a regulatory body, this would not have been the case. Okay. Now public universities jitni bhi hoti hain in all the states, every state decides how the tuition fee is going to be with the public university system. And that is also state dependent, not federal. Federal means a central thing. So every state decides its own tuition fees in that way for its public university system. Private universities are out of the purview. So I don't think so. It could be coincidental that okay 2%, 3% increase has happened, but otherwise it is no impact. Like then if you are paying a tuition fee of $50,000, now you have to pay 50,500. It is of no consequence. It is not going to reduce any debt of yours.
So, Mani, coming on to the work opportunities for the students in the part-time and the full-time once they graduate, कुछ ऐसा चेंज आपको दिख रहा है कि पॉसिबल होने वाला है बिकॉज ट्रम्प इज सेइंग बाय अमेरिकन हायर अमेरिकन एंड यू नो
Yeah, buy American, that is always going to be good because you're going to increase manufacturing in your country, local goods, more jobs actually for everyone. And in terms of work opportunities, so with the students, there are two things. There is a part-time job, there is a full-time job. Part-time job, you can only do it at the campus. So there is no implication on that. You know, you can't work outside campus in US as a part-time job. So it means that it is not going to have any impact. In terms of full-time jobs, if you think, like we can take multiple scenarios into it. In technology, Indians have been sought after. We have been everywhere. In healthcare, we are always there. In sciences, we are there. So that is always going to be the case. I don't think so it is going to have that impact. And when we talk about opportunities in other sectors, so work opportunities ke andar see OPT is there. OPT extension is there. As long as this system exists, there is an allowance from the system to work within US. So if that is not touched upon, then I don't think so it will carry any negative sentiment. The day they are going to tinker that OPT or OPT extension, okay, this is not for you, this is for you. During Obama, it increased from 17 months to 24 months as an OPT extension. So pehle OPT was 12 months, OPT extension used to be 17 months. Then during Obama, it was made 12 plus 24. So that is how the 36 months of OPT plus OPT extension comes into play. As long as they are not touching that, because that is the only way students are going to work in US through OPT. Otherwise, straight away H1B and L1 visa getting is pretty difficult. And you know, one interesting fact that I must mention it for everyone actually. You know, if you work for not-for-profit, at any point of time, your H1B or green card is fastest. Faster than any IT job, faster than any tech job or any job. So what do you mean by So when you are a doctor, you work for hospitals. When you work at the universities, they are not for profit. Even private universities are not for profit. Okay. So when you work for these organizations, your green card, your H1B is faster. Okay. Than any other job actually. So when you're working for not for profit, you work for a foundation, you're working for a research organization. If it's not for profit, your work visa is fastest.
Yeah, so one of
But
my friend has gone for like he is graduate from Harvard into technical from technical standpoint only, but he's working as a researcher in one of the major mental health startup. So which is again a non-profit.
obviously, a startup can be. I don't know whether it's for.
It's non-profit.
It's not for profit. So then you'll have a faster access to green card and H1B.
And US में labor laws in general, I mean we are going off the track, but US के labor laws are they very strict? क्योंकि इंडिया में आप अगर ओवर टाइम करवा लो या फिर कुछ भी चीज़ें करवा लो, ऐसा कोई स्ट्रिक्ट लॉ नहीं, ऑल तो देयर आर लॉज बट देयर आर लूप होल्स ऑल्सो. तो यूएस में
So there are laws everywhere. Enforcement is not there. There we can see the enforcement, and people are aware about their rights. So as long as people are aware, exploitation will not happen. Here people are less aware, so exploitation happens.
okay.
That is true with every society. So people are aware, and plus when you talk about labor laws, again हमारे यहाँ देश में एक ही labor law है, but in US all every state will have a different point of view on laws as well.
हाँ, सो न्यूज़ में काफ़ी बार ये भी आता है दैट दे आर ऑलमोस्ट ऑन द वर्ज ऑफ रिसेशन. तो विद डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प कमिंग इन टू द पावर, डू यू थिंक कि वो पटरी पे आएगा वापस यूएस इकोनॉमी?
See, US economy has been growing, I think, at a rate. I think we can check the figures, but about 2.1 to 2.7% is something that we look at. They don't grow at what we expect in India, 6.5, 7.5, 8%, like that. That is too high because the size of the economy is way too big. We're talking about an 18 trillion economy versus a 3 trillion economy actually. So at 2.1, 2.3%, they are actually growing at a very decent rate. But in terms of job market, they are not in recession. Technically, they are not in recession. Technically, they are out of recession. But yeah, the growth has not been as phenomenal. In every country, election year is always not a very positive year for growth in most of the places, because there are more policy will be towards the public benefit rather than actually looking at more welfare schemes, more giving out rather than taking in. So in that case, that has always been the case, that you will have much more people-friendly policies actually. So उसमें GDP बढ़ेगा नहीं बढ़े, but trust और confidence वो बढ़ जाता है.
इम्पैक्ट भी आई थिंक उसी का फिर आगे जाता है इन द नेक्स्ट कमिंग ईयर्स.
Yeah. So like we are not discussing India at the moment, but we know as citizens of India that whenever there is election year, there are more people-friendly policies come into picture. Taxes are reduced actually rather than levying taxes. As soon as the government is elected, more new taxes come into picture every few months. And that is the situation everywhere.
बट दिस पे आई थिंक यूएस इज सॉर्टेड कि 4 साल में एक बार इलेक्शन होगा, बस वही उसी टाइम पे होगा.
हाँ, तो see, there are different kind of democracy. We are a different kind of democracy. We don't elect the head of state by ourselves. We never vote for a prime minister. Na? We vote for people, and they ultimately choose the representative, which becomes the prime minister of the country. But in US, you are voting for straight the head of the state here. So I think every system has got its good and bad. But like if I ask you that, would you like to vote for the prime minister straight?
Yes.
Like I think in last 2 tenures this has been the case in India.
Yeah, this has been made a personality case, obviously, in India. But electing head of the state here, I think that gives you a much more adrenaline rush. That you are voting for the president, you are voting for the prime minister, that is always there.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are indirect. We elect our head of the state very indirectly.
What do you see कि Joe Biden versus Donald Trump, उन दोनों में कौन better था?
See, in terms of appeasement, in terms of making you feel good, you'll always find democratic government to be much more concerned, careful, and considerate about international students and everyone. You look at what Kamala Harris used to say, or you look at what even before Hillary Clinton, which was not elected, what they used to say. So Democrats will always be there they'll give you a feel good factor. But at the ground situation remains in doesn't remain like it doesn't change at all. For students, it is same. As an international student, you are paying fees, you are studying. Job market is there. You are finding a job. You are not finding a job. I don't think so. Government has got anything to do with it.
2017 में जो डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प का लास्ट टेन्योर था उसमें कुछ क्राइम अगेंस्ट इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स प्लस कुछ हेट क्राइम्स वो भी काफ़ी इंक्रीज हुए थे. सो डू यू सी इट वाज स्पेसिफिक टू डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प्स टेन्योर या फिर दिस हैज इंक्रीज इन जनरल?
See, I think obviously, if the head of the state is making statements which can be provocative, then there are few elements in the society who will always carry that impact. They'll always feel that okay, this is the right thing to do, or maybe so. Definitely, some incidents of crime could be. I don't say instigation is there, but I think it could be under the influence of those provocative statements that crimes have been committed.
So do you think USA will not be safer for Indian students in Donald Trump's tenure?
See, very difficult to say how the situation would be, but it is not going to be so negative. See, if I open up the newspaper every morning, which I do, I go through Times of India, Hindustan Times. There are a lot of crimes are reported about my city as well.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that I'm going to change my country or my city at all, because wherever there is a human existence, there will be some crime happening. But as a common man, if you don't feel threatened on everyday basis, I think that is fine. And now Indian students are so many number, Indian diaspora is so much there. There is so much people to people contact. There is no way for us to feel negative about it at all.
And loneliness भी नहीं होता होता.
बिल्कुल.
बिकॉज थ्रेट्स जैसे ऑस्ट्रेलिया में होता है 2017-18 के अराउंड
2008 was a year where it became when the worst thing happened, when there was protest also by students, marches were taken on roads in Australia. In Australia.
lot of killings as well.
So yeah, there were few people who were, there were few students who were killed. When you are in a foreign country or even a city in India, you don't have to push your luck. That's a thumb rule that you have to follow always. You don't have to push your luck. अगर यहाँ से यार कहीं जाते हैं, we go to Bangalore, Mumbai or anywhere, if we don't know the place, then don't venture out. It's same as anywhere else. Like I got students who have been to places in Chicago and they said there's a lot of drug crime and everything. You're staying close to university, you are fine. You're taking care of timings well. You're taking care where to venture out, where to not venture out. Follow the basic rules and it is fine for you.
एंड मानिक आपकी कोई एलुमनाई जो अभी भी यूएस में जॉब कर रहे हैं, have they shared any experiences in Trump's last tenure versus Joe Biden's tenure, or maybe their fear or their hopes from the upcoming government?
So abhi tak to, because this year was not very great for jobs, so they are already at a low with many people actually. So they are hoping it's going to get better. So they are hoping it is going to be better this year. 25, 26 would be better for international students seeking jobs. So abhi tak to morale is high actually, because they were very low this year. But I'll tell you unexpectedly, I'll not say unexpectedly, but many students have got very good jobs also. And many students got successful H1B draws also this year, and next year also they would get it. See, there are jobs and they have to be filled, and they have to be filled by people who can actually do that particular job. So there will be demand always for people who are carrying that skill. If you're carrying a skill, then there is no better place than US, because if you've got a skill, they will actually keep you somehow.
पहले जो अमाउंट था ना ऑफ लेसर टेक्निकल जॉब्स वो थोड़ा ज़्यादा था, वो कहीं ना कहीं अब डिक्रीज हो गया है. इनफैक्ट स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम
Let's say technical jobs, I think.
आई मीन मे बी अ स्कूल टीचर काइंड ऑफ अ जॉब, स्पेसिफिकली जो लोग L1 वीज़ा पे जा रहे हैं, सो देयर स्पाउस कैन डायरेक्टली गो अहेड एंड वर्क. बट आई हैव सीन फ्यू केसेस वो अनफॉर्चुनेटली दे हैवंट गॉट इन.
So पहले तो H1B spouses and everyone were not allowed to work.
L1.
हाँ, L1 के ऊपर. So आप कह रहे L1 पे they are allowed to.
And here,
हाँ, so पहले वो भी अलाउ नहीं था. But there was a point कि that should not be allowed. कि you are getting someone in the country because of a skill set. That doesn't mean the spouse also should be given right to work. But फिर उसका counter ये था कि अब जब यहाँ पे हैं तो they should have right to livelihood. So you should give that. But you the फिर and when you talk about jobs with teachers and everything, so teaching job is not something very easy that you can take it up like India. It is not easy. You have to go through examination system. You need to go through a background check also before being associated with any school or anything, because you are dealing with kids actually. So you go through that process in that country. So there is a very very organized segment on how you can get into a job or not get into a job.
सो लास्ट ईयर के कंपैरिजन में वर्सेस जब से इलेक्शन रिजल्ट्स आए, हैव यू सीन डिप इन द इंटरेस्ट ऑफ स्टडीइंग यूएसए लीड्स, या फिर वो फ्लैट ही है, या कुछ इंक्रीज हुआ है?
There has been no change. No change.
Okay.
No change.
Really?
There has been no change. In terms of people, see, उसका बहुत बड़ा इम्पैक्ट पड़ता है कि आपके पास और क्या अवेलेबल है. Canada has gone down drastically. UK has, अगर US has bad economy, then UK had the very very worst of its outcome for students actually, international students in terms of jobs or intensives at all. और प्लस लोगों को लगता है कि इंडिया में भी पता नहीं, मतलब पीपल व्हेन दे थॉट ऑफ गोइंग आउट दे विल गो आउट मोस्ट प्रोबेबली. 8-10 में से 8 लोग तो निकल ही जाएंगे, और जो 8 लोग निकलते हैं तो उनको कोई डेस्टिनेशन तो चाहिए. इसलिए जर्मनी हैज़ बीन इंक्रीजिंग अ लॉट ऑफ, like the student intake has increased quite a lot. Germany has got some problem with visa issues, not visa issues, but in terms of dates and everything, very, very poorly managed system right now. But yeah, they're getting that
Because demand was the technical jobs.
demand भी है. They want immigrants to come in again.
एंड फ्रांस काफ़ी नेगेटिव सेंटिमेंट ऑलरेडी है ही.
France negative है because of incidents of violence, because of a lot of population racism. I would say वहाँ पे अलग तरीके का racism है. Lot of black population has been there, which it's not about black population or white population. It's about population which is not willing to work and catering to drugs and catering to all these negative things. Not working, religious hatred on these things.
तो crime rate बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ा.
Crime rate, I mean, crime rate मैं आपको बताता हूँ अभी, like crime rate has increased in California also. In San Francisco, LA, I went to LA a few years back. The amount of homeless people you will find on the roads is going to blow your mind.
I've seen some videos.
ठीक है, इतने ज़्यादा. अब so अभी भी lot of population has been against the current governor as well in California, because they are getting all the benefits of unemployment and they are getting houses. All these benefits are being extended to that populations. See, it is like the political interest. It's better for some political interest so that they continue to remain like this. पढ़ेंगे नहीं, अवेयर नहीं होंगे तो काम,
हमारा वोट बैंक चलता रहेगा.
again vote bank politics is everywhere. So that is up. But the crime in those states have been increasing, and that's the reason why Trump got elected again. Because people don't want that kind of immigration thing to come in. Immigrants coming from east of the world, immigrants coming from Middle East, I would say Syria से आए, कहीं से आए, इधर से आए, और plus that religious conversion happening around the world, it will not do any good actually. इसलिए they look for a leader who is brash, okay, who can do some action oriented leaders, are right wing leaders, what we call it as. तो ये सब लोग आएंगे which are anti-immigration. That is why you can see in Europe also most of the anti-immigration people getting elected right wing or center right. But leftist governments are nowhere.
So this is generally an interest of America, but कोई major implications Indian students पे तो नहीं आएगा.
Indian students पे implication तभी आएगा अगर OPT के अंदर कोई changes आते हैं तो. If OPT is not disturbed, then there is no impact on Indians.
Okay.
H1B is a very progressive system which has been perceived in US for long. It has been benefiting the US industry. And अगर आप Indian diaspora के इतने सारे लोग देखें जो बहुत successful हैं, they are actually the byproduct of H1B system majorly. Okay, OPT extension, like from Satya daily life you look at, everyone has gone through that kind of a route to be where they are right now.
But do you foresee any decline in the percentage of H1B visa?
H1B, see, we don't know what. See, it depends on the team also that Donald Trump is going to have.
बट उसमें तो मेजोरिटी काफ़ी एक्सटेंट तक इंडियन ओरिजिन या फिर
एक्सटेंड नहीं, ये है कि दे आर प्रोग्रेसिव पीपल, but there are different kind of people. Like the guy who will be looking at the healthcare is someone who refused COVID vaccination also. So you don't know someone who is actually not very optimistic about vaccination, and someone like that taking care of healthcare system. So there would be many surprises in that team. In terms of student population, OPT extension needs to be there, taken into consideration, and then any H1B, that's a later part. Because after you graduate for first 3 years or 1 year to 3 years, you need OPT or OPT extension only to continue.
but I think Donald Trump plus Elon Musk both are very outspoken and they are the team behind the USA government in the next tenure.
How they are so. I don't know if so Elon Musk, because he couldn't be president, so he supported someone. So he's like actually looking at his dream through Donald Trump's eyes. Actually, that is what he is doing. It looks like that. The way he has been very enthusiastic and so much, so much, very bullish about Donald Trump, his policies, everything, and then getting him to meet all the tech majors. Mark Zuckerberg met him, all these people met him, and what we heard from news and media that he has made his that Macau resort in Florida as a second home now, sitting there and talking to the representatives of different countries. So I think he is there with him, and as long as Elon Musk is there, you know I'll not say he's pro immigration or something, but he is always there looking at that the best talent needs to come to the country. That is what his. So one of my students actually works at Tesla. Two students works at Tesla actually. There were three. One was laid off actually 4 5 months back. So two students were, and one of my students, he's actually working. He was working in California with that Cybertruck. Yeah. So he was part of that Cybertruck team, and he says that there is coming from the horse's mouth. Very pro skill. If you have got the skill, you are here with us. You don't have the skill, you are not there with us. ना nationality matter करती है, ना ही immigration status. अगर आप में skill है तो काम करो. And that is what his fund is, and that is what he is looking at implementing as well. That if you have got the right skill, if you have got the right talent, and I need that skill and talent, then the work is ready for you.
Great.
So with Indian students and going majorly into STEM programs, that's why it is always a thumbs up case.
So are there any going to be like travel restrictions or more scrutiny towards the Indian students specifically?
No, I think we are outside the purview of that. We are not in that purview. We are not in that grey list. There is a black list and there is no list and there is a grey list. We are not in the grey list. You see, it's been many years. We are out of that grey list. I think since 2008, 10, 12 onwards, I think it has been 15, 20 years now since the emergence of Indian population into different sectors, technology and everywhere across the world. We are not in that grey list. We are not in the black list for sure. Grey list में भी नहीं है. हाँ, हमें थोड़ा सा रेसिस्ट फीलिंग आ जाती है कई बार कि यार हमें साइड में निकाल दिया, एयरपोर्ट पे चलते हुए बोला तो वो साइड पे आ जाओ. ठीक है, extra check is being done. It was like I faced that many years back. I was twice. It was done on the same trip, and I had missed my flight on way to US, and I was actually it was to London. So शाम को they give you a hotel accommodation and everything. You just stay there, and then next morning you move. So next morning when I was going to the check-in, so he just took a pen. I don't know, random checking होते हैं ना. They just mark it. Just टिक लगा के कुछ भी करके boarding pass साथ में दे दिया. And then दो बार I was moved out from the shoes उतारो ये उतारो, and then they do that what do you call it as there's a particular test they make you go through that test. I'm forgetting the name of that test actually. तो पूरी detailed checking, they'll make you go through it. और आपको ऐसा लगता है कि यार वाई मुझको ही क्यों निकाला, you are keeping a beard or something, but there are a lot of people who keep beard like that. I don't think so. बट वो थोड़ा बहुत तो चलता है यार.
So because of that test, you missed your flight?
No.
Oh.
I missed my flight because India was Indian flights को पाकिस्तान एयर स्पेस के ऊपर से नहीं जाना था उस टाइप पे. They had to take that detour, but still no flight timings were changed. So it was very apparent when we started that we are going to miss our flight connecting flight from Wrangell. And लेकिन आपको ऐसा टेस्ट में साइड पे करके कर लेते हैं. यू हैव सीन इन मूवीज आल्सो ना कि आपको साइड पे करके आपको एक्स्ट्रा चेकिंग हुई आती है. यू विल गो थ्रू अनदर 2 more एक्सरेज, फुल बॉडी स्कैन, यू विल गोइंग टू गो थ्रू दैट. ठीक है, अब उसको आप रेसिज्म समझ लीजिए या सोच लीजिए आपके बेनिफिट के लिए है.
So basically, net you're saying there will be no or very little implications with Donald Trump coming into the power for Indian students.
I'm saying prima facie it doesn't look like it, but but time will tell. But Trump can be really you can say very it's very difficult to predict. He is very unpredictable in those times. Very unpredictable. If it will work wonders for the Indian student population. He'll say come, do good, secure a job. If you secure a job, your green card process will be much faster.
But do you think हमारी मदर टेक्सिस जो अभी हमारी फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर को लेवल दिया जा रहा है सोशल मीडिया पे, विल देयर बी एनी टिप बिटवीन डोनाल्ड ट्रम्प्स एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एंड आवर इंडियन टैक्सेशन सिस्टम?
No, I don't think so. See, with our current finance minister, I think she's just executing what she's told. What she's told. I don't think so. She's an independent.
It's a team of few people. It's not her sole decision.
Obviously, see, every minister has got a lot of bureaucrats working with them. Yeah, it is how they come, showcase, implement, execute. But that policy making is in everything is with a larger perspective, with a larger thought process. So taxes, yeah, I think India has become very strong. We are now doing tit for tat also. We have done it with many nationalities also कि हमें वीज़ा नहीं दोगे तो हम आपके लोगों को नहीं देंगे. हम हमारे एजुकेशन सिस्टम को नहीं मानेंगे और एजुकेशन सिस्टम को नहीं मानेंगे. बट
Is it possible with US and
US के साथ इतना पॉसिबल है नहीं ऐसा. Because the relationship has grown over a period of time. आपको पता ही होगा कि US was never a supporter of India because India was pro-Russia always. So Pakistan's alignment with US was always very stronger. It only happened within the last 35 years actually when it has completely tilted in favor of India. And the way Indian system has progressed, the way we have moved as a nation has been very positive for everything. See, we are the market. So the biggest market, we are the technical brains, we are everywhere. So then people to people contact is always very positive. And plus, Pakistan has always been a negative state. They will always look at more negatives. We have always been a progressive state in that way.
If not USA, तो और कौन से study abroad destinations हैं? Although we have covered it in brief and previously, but still और कौन से study abroad destinations हैं where Indian students can go?
See, I'm very bullish about Australia right now because one, they have implemented a student cap kind of a thing, which is also we are getting media reports it will be taken off or something. But I think Australia still has got the capacity to take the new students in. And New Zealand has been off the market for some time, but that can also be considered. Plus, they are the countries which are looking at immigrants. So we're looking at immigration, then Australia, New Zealand and Germany will always be there. Then there is a lot of movement towards Ireland also. But the student intake has gone off balance. I think Ireland will see what UK is seeing very soon. Because, that balance of students coming into the system, UK has never followed that balance actually last few years. Ireland is also going the same way. The country cannot sustain so many students. So there is no need to take so many students.
Infrastructure नहीं है.
Yeah, infrastructure, it's a limited economy, na? So Ireland is on that way. France has actually started giving 2+2 or 4-year kind of a visa after post-graduation. But very surprisingly, they don't give any post-study work visa after undergraduation. So people who go for undergraduation, they don't get any post-study work visa. But after masters, you can go up to 4 years. They've got some norms associated with that. It comes with an asterisk actually. that you need to have this kind of organization. You should be earning this much money. I think Netherlands in Europe, Netherlands, Ireland, Germany, these three destinations, Australia and New Zealand down south, where Australia is being a bigger contributor. And then I think US के अलावा फिर हमारे पास ये सब destinations that we can Canada is definitely out of the picture. Canada people are not willing to. Geopolitical reasons कह लीजिए या people think यार जब आपके देश में ये हो जाए ना कि if I went to Canada you are a traitor, that kind of feeling if you get into the system. People are straight away saying that we don't want to go to Canada. Who goes to Canada now? Why should we go to Canada? You're
Also seeing a decline in the percentage from Canada.
massive. और वो continue है. Last year, I'll tell you, till about 2023, if I had 100 students applying to top universities undergraduate in US, about 70 of them were applying to Canada also. This year, it has reduced to 10.
Oh, really?
हमारे मतलब that's my sample survey. That's a smaller sample, but people are not willing to apply to पहले Toronto, University of British Columbia, Waterloo. Everyone was willing to apply. Okay, I'm applying to Penn State. I'm applying to Cornell. I'm applying to NYU. And in Canada, I'm applying to this. In UC, in California, applying to UCs. लेकिन ये एकदम से डिक्लाइन हो गया. डिक्लाइन ऐसे हो गया कि आप कोई भी नहीं कहता कि हमें यू टोरंटो और यहाँ अप्लाई करने में. अब तो जब कनाडा 51st स्टेट बन जाएगा तभी जाएंगे. सी कनाडा हैज़ बीन स्किमिंग इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स ऑल्सो. आप देखिए ना $200-250 कौन एप्लीकेशन फ़ी चार्ज करता है. छोटे कॉलेजेस हैं, दे आर चार्जिंग $150, $200, $300. UK चार्जेस £15, £10, £25 लाइक दैट. तो क्या अंडर ग्रेड के तो बहुत ही कम है, लेकिन £35 के अंदर आपकी सारी एप्लीकेशंस कवर हो जाते हैं. लेकिन आप कनाडा अप्लाई करो, आपसे $200, $250 चार्ज करते हैं. फिर वंस यू गेट एडमिशन दे आस्क यू टू डिपॉजिट. वो अभी SDA स्कीम जो ख़त्म कर दी है, जो इंडियंस काफ़ी लोग कह रहे थे इट इज़ नेगेटिव एंड ऑल, लेकिन सही है यार. पहले आपको SDA स्कीम के अंदर आपको पूरी ट्यूशन फीस डिपॉजिट करनी पड़ती है 1 साल की. सो सपोज इफ़ यू आर अ यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ टोरंटो अंडर ग्रेजुएट स्टूडेंट अप्लाइंग फॉर अ बिजनेस डिग्री, $64,000 कैनेडियन डॉलर्स इज़ योर ट्यूशन फीस. आपने $64,000 पहले ट्रांसफ़र किए. फिर अब तो 17,000 हो गया था GST का अमाउंट भी. 17,000 आपने वो करे, 81,000 आपने कर दिए डॉलर्स. अभी आपको वीज़ा नहीं मिला है, अभी आप अप्लाई करोगे, फिर आपको वीज़ा आएगा, 6 महीने में आएगा, 3 महीने आएगा. आजकल तो वो भी बहुत अनरिलायबल सा चक्कर है. लेकिन और प्लस आपने $200-250 एक एप्लीकेशन फीस भी दे दी है. तो योर इन्वेस्टमेंट बिफोर लैंडिंग अ वीज़ा इज़ वे टू बिगर. नो अदर कंट्री डज दैट. दे हैव स्किम्ड इंडियन स्टूडेंट्स एट द बेस्ट. उन्होंने बहुत पैसे निकाले, एप्लीकेशन फ़ीस, GIC, टोटल ट्यूशन फ़ी ट्रांसफ़र कर दो, सब कुछ. एंड इट्स आई थिंक वी आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर दैट. वी आर ऑलवेज विद योर हैंड्स फोल्डेड कि इमिग्रेशन मिल जाएगा, जो बोल रहे मान लो. सही इमिग्रेशन मिल जाएगा, ये पूरी फीस भी मानते इसे दे देना चाहिए.
ठीक है. एक और चीज़ मतलब सिंस यू मेंशन कि कनाडा में इतना मेजर डिक्लाइन है, US will more or less remain flat. बाकी कंट्रीज़ में भी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर चैलेंजेस चल रहे हैं, सो दे कैन नॉट एक्सपोनेंशियली इंक्रीज द नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट. सो डू यू सी कि नेक्स्ट ईयर जो टोटल नंबर ऑफ स्टडी अब्रॉड स्टूडेंट्स हैं, we'll see a major dip in the total number of students going abroad from India?
See, I think there's one section that we have not talked about is the students who are going for MBBS.
Okay.
So they were impacted by Russia-Ukraine war. Okay, otherwise there was a massive outflow. Though it has been compensated a bit by Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, those nations actually which are Asian countries only, very close by. But I think more or less it will be I think there will be a bit of decline in the coming year. Not a huge decline, but there will be a decline because Canada being on the lower side, and right now the application season is already going on to the next year. And plus we can never rule out the emergence of Indian education system. It has come out so strongly in last few years. The rise of Indian higher education institutions, new age institutions, and the way they have been positioning themselves, collaborations with Indian institutions and international institutions, trying to provide you with the best of things here itself. Though we are undergoing a huge transition and transformation at that level, but that is also attracting a lot of candidates that stay here. Especially at the undergraduate level, there is a bigger fight. Masters has been stagnant for many years. And undergraduation, there were a lot of students who were going out as well, started to go out. Now with emergence of Indian new age institutions, some are being held back also. वो पुराना सिस्टम आ जाता है ना कि मास्टर्स के लिए चले जाएंगे,
हाँ
ठीक है, अंडरग्रेड से मतलब पीपल कम इंक्वायर से सर हमने सोचा हम मास्टर्स के लिए जाएंगे। मैंने कहा इसमें सोचा क्या है, तो सारे ही सोच रखा, सबने सोच रखा होता है ये तो। मैं कहा इफ़ यू गो टू अ कॉलेज और एनी वेयर एंड आस्क any group of students, you will find 80% students will say will go for definitely will go for masters. So it means that aspiration is always there. The decline would be only can be in the case of year to year decline a bit because of these bigger destinations getting closed or having some repercussions. Otherwise, study abroad will always be trending. Always be trending because that aspirational value is attached to it, that glam factor is attached to it, that quality of life is attached to it. With all these factors, it will always be interesting. And you know, there is a lot of movement between people. Okay, Indian people are traveling everywhere. But see, when you travel to a foreign destination, you'll go and look at that university. You take a university tour. Then your mind is set. यार, if I have to come and study, then this is a place to be because I can't. And I think the
करण जौहर की मूवीज ने भी कुछ तो सेट किया है कि हाँ यूनिवर्सिटीज ऐसी हो।
it's not only current or actually, you know, with OTT and everything, when you look at so many, when you're exposed to the content, global content, when you see the world is so amazing out there. When you say, okay, if I've got the money, it will ultimately boil down to money.
आई वाज स्पेशल अमेरिकन पायर।
सब कुछ बाकी इधर उधर है, सब कुछ इधर उधर है। It's all about money factor. Security, safety will always be a factor, but as long as you can afford it, you will be traveling. So जहाँ जहाँ पे affordability system will rise, जहाँ जहाँ पे disposable income will rise, जहाँ पे education loan facility will rise, students will travel. So that is how it is going to be. So it is going to be trending, it is going to be upward, plus minus छोटा मोटा आता रहेगा year on year कुछ ना कुछ implication, but it will always be on the rise.
Thank you so much, Manik, for being here. And we, as always, we really enjoyed this conversation with you. We hope to see you again on our podcast very soon.
Definitely, thank you so much for listening to all the pointers that I mentioned.
that is very helpful. I really think.
Yeah, I think, but we can always bring to the audience a very candid way of communication, and where we can tell them how it actually happens. And because I am in contact with so many students and parents, the kids who are living there, and the students who are traveling, coming back in holidays, so there is a good amount of feedback which is always available. So I'm always connected to students and parents community in that way, and that's an every year affair. And we continue to take feedback from them so that we can pass on that feedback to the next year students actually.
Right.
It gives a lot of comfort factor. It gives a lot of confidence factor also with parents and students that okay, there is something that I have heard and it is right information, authenticated information, and I've heard it from someone who is actually there.
Nice.
Maybe we can, in the next one, we can talk about some of the pain points.
Yeah, pain points are always there. I always say look at the optimistic side. There will always be a pessimistic side to everything. But yeah, pain points are always there. Especially when parents are there, you have to consider all the pain points as well.
Absolutely. So thank you so much, Manik, for your time.
Thank you so much.
Have a good day. Hope to see you soon.
Sure, thank you so much.